Hello everyone, welcome back. We are here now to continue on our module 2. If you haven't yet, be sure to check out our previous videos on module 2 where we talked about loading files onto p5.js such as images and text fonts. Today we are going to be talking about transformations in p5.js. Now, transformations are basically built-in functions within p5 that allow us to move objects or make them grow or shrink or rotate them a lot more easily. So we're going to get into that today. Just to start with, I've set up a canvas that is window width and window height with 3 different shapes. If you're following along, feel free to pause the video and sort of try and match. Just set yourself up a canvas and give yourself 3 shapes in the draw function. Now, if I want to move all of these 3 shapes at once to a certain distance, the most painful way for me to do it would be to go, okay, I want to move everything to 100, 100. That means I'm going to change this, I'm going to change that, and then I'm going to add 100 to the ellipse and add 100 to the ellipse. And that's just going to be very inefficient for us in the long run. So what instead we can do is using one of p5.js transformation commands, which is translate. Now I'm going to try translating to 100 to 100. And so if I press that, and so as we can see, all of the objects move at once. So what is translate? So we are going to pop into the p5.js reference here. And so if we look at the description, translate specifies an amount to displace objects within the display window. So the format to write a translate command is it has an X and a Y. So as always, the X would be how far to the left or the right you want to move your objects, and the Y how far up or down. So what is actually happening within a transformation is that transformations alter your sketches, or they move your objects around by reorienting your entire canvas. So you remember in one of our first videos where we talked about, so this is actually the canvas of where we work on p5.js. This is our starting point at the top left, that's the x-axis and the y-axis. So that is where we work. Now with transformations, when we apply things like translate, or later on we'll talk about rotate and things and scale and things like that, it's moving not just the objects itself, but it's moving your entire canvas to a new point, or it's rotating it to a different orientation. And so for example, this is where so the black line here indicates where your original coordinates or like starting points are. And so with translate, say I command it to translate 100 by 100, like I just said, the new starting point, the new 0, 0 is now at 100, 100. So I say this now because it's going to be really important in understanding why it's doing what it's doing. You can actually, in p5.js reference, you can look at obviously tons of examples like these ones, and you can also play around with them to edit them and run them to see how they function. So for example, in this, we have a rectangle that is seemingly drawn at 0, 0, but it has a translate command on top of it that says 20, 20. So that means every object that it draws after this translate command is going to start from 20, 20. Another thing that they mention about translate or transformations in general is that they are cumulative. So what that means is, so let's say this example here, right? So I'm still on the p5.js reference page. So we have a rectangle that's again, seemingly on 0, 0, but because it's been translated, so technically it's sitting on x20, y20, right? So 20, 20 here. But if I add translate 50, 50 right after it, if I run that, now it's actually sitting at even further away, and it's technically sitting at 70, 70. And so that's what I mean when the translate function or any transformation command in general actually adds up.